Hey there, guys. Good to be back with you. Well, yeah, as I've said before, one of the best ways that you can get yourself really immersed into a replay is to go through and read different things that were written about the season that you're playing through, especially old baseball guides. Now, I haven't quite had the time to get as deep into the 1909 baseball guides as I like. And remember, you want to buy the guide for the season afterwards to get the review of the season that you're playing. It's best to read probably both that and then the 1908 guide. Also, in the old days, it used to be both the Spalding baseball guide and the Reach baseball guide, right? Reach was associated with the American League, Spalding with the National. Anyway, it's kind of complicated. We can go back into that when we need to. But I learned a pretty interesting thing as I was looking through this, which is that when we look back on what Ed Walsh did in 1908, we look at it and we think, man, that was a really remarkable feat, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. And let me show you what I'm talking about. This is from the 1908 guide. It talks about, this is the 1908 Reach guide. It talks about pitcher Walsh's wonderful 1908 work. Standing out preeminent in the 1908 campaign of the American League, even in a baseball season so full of sensational features as to eclipse all previous American League records, is the work of pitcher Edward Walsh, whose prowess was all that made it possible for the White Sox not only to stay in the American League's pennant race, but to go right down to the wire and fight it out with Detroit in the final day of the schedule. What Walsh meant to the White Sox last year is summarized in the amazing fact that he pitched in 66 out of the 156 games the White Sox played last season. A little redundant, but there you go, including drawn battles. That is 12 more than 1/3 of all the games his team played, and only 14 games less than half of the total Sox contest. So I want to pause here and say that a lot of people who will talk about the strange pitching of the old days and they were used to it back then and it was normal for guys to pitch all the time. What Ed Walsh was doing here was not normal, right? This is published in 1909. On an average, Walsh worked every 3 days, allowing for open dates on Sundays in the East and on other days in the West. But in emergencies, he was used on the slab not only every other day, but sometimes every day, which is just incredible. I mean, it's just amazing, right? For 1908, that was not very normal, right? Nor was his work confined to his appearances on the slab, for many times he pitched a whole afternoon out back of the grandstand, keeping himself warmed up, ready to relieve the other Sox hurlers if occasion demanded and the Sox had a lead. Frequently, it happened that Comiskey's men would get the jump by a run or two in the early innings. As soon as they did, Walsh would be sent out to prepare himself for relief duty in case the pitcher assigned to the slab could not hold the game safe. I mean, this is just how amazing this was at the time. You can see here that this is definitely not the norm. All sorts of cool stuff here. This particular scan is actually not all that great. I got this from a friend. There is, if you go on to archive.org, you can find one that is of much better quality with pictures you can actually see, at least probably actually see. Then they did a little bit of baseball reference before there was baseball reference, printing his entire day-by-day record, which is really impressive. I'm guessing those are all of his... Are these all of his complete games? I'm not 100% sure. No, some of these are relieved. So he relieved some games, and most of these are games that he started. And you can see here he's starting basically on 3 days rest, 2 days rest, that sort of thing, which is really, really impressive. Then there are all these details of games in which he relieved in the 9th inning. And he was hit off the slab there. In the 6th inning, after the White Sox has scored 5 runs in the 6th inning after St. Louis, okay. This is another 8th inning relief, pitched 1 inning in relief, pitched the last inning. So it doesn't give you all of the information that you would really want to see, but it gives you more than enough information to know that what he was doing was really kind of special. I mean, Ed Walsh in 1908 was not just like a really good starting pitcher or a really good relief pitcher. He was basically both the closer for the White Sox and their best starting pitcher, and he did both and filled both roles really, really well. And if it were not for him, the White Sox would never have been in the pennant race. Now, in our replay, it's been a little bit different, as you've probably seen. He has not had this incredible winning streak. In fact, he's got a losing record right now. And there's a part of me that wonders if we're not pitching him too frequently. And this is one of those questions, which is, well, what do you do? Do you keep pitching him with the sort of rest he would have had in real life, or do you react the way that a real life manager probably would react to this guy going out and losing, all the time, having like a 4-8 record at this time of the season or whatever, and maybe not pitch him so often? So love to know what you think. But all in all, the real important thing here is that we're talking about Ed Walsh and his 464 innings pitched in 1908. We're not talking about something that was normal. We're talking about something that was actually quite unusual. And it was so unusual that the Reach Guide, at least of 1909, devoted an entire section to the work that Ed Walsh was doing. So there you have it. Talk to you later. Bye.